It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It is finally race day. We are back underway for the Sim Series Amateur League, this time in the Belgian hills. And we're starting with energy. Oh my goodness. What a legend. Hi, John. Thank you so much for the super chat, dude. It's a warm welcome after the absolute disaster that this race was to set up. Let's just say I spent over an hour on what should have taken around 5 minutes. But we're here, and we're going to make it happen. Screw it, we're doing it live. It is the Sim Series Amateur League here at Spa. An absolute monster of a track, one of the most legendary racetracks on the globe. And definitely one of the longest tracks of the Sim Series season. Thank you, Nort, for the 50 biddies. I do appreciate it very, very much. Thank you so much. And boy, oh boy, when I say this was a pain setting up, I absolutely mean it. This track is so hard for the AI to get around. It just made no sense. At one point, I was like almost pulling my hair out because they just started disregarding each other for absolutely no reason. But let's talk news for a second here. Behind the wheel of the 68 for the very first time is Jimmy Powell III, filling in for David Alvarez. The number 68 was originally supposed to be piloted by David Alvarez for the entire season, but he's moved on to a full-time seat in the Sim Series. With Goky retiring from that number 11, Alvarez is in there, so his 68 in the Amateur League is now freed up, and Jimmy Powell III behind the wheel for the very first time here at Spa. So, I must say, before we get into this, there is one new rule that I've had to put it in place. I don't want to do this, but it's a choice I had to make. If the field does not get through the first couple of corners under green, we're just going to do a quick restart. Because if they can't do that, there's no point in running the race. Because it's just going to go caution after caution, right? So, it's not going to be a reset the field. It's just going to be a quick restart. See if they make the first couple of corners. And if they can't do it, we're just going to keep trying until they do it. Because trust me, we can get some good racing out of this track. And god damn it, I'm trying my hardest to make this happen for y'all. That being said, thank you to all of you guys who have tuned in. Albeit a little bit late. I let him die. Goodness me. Thank you all for being here. We're just going to cut straight to the chase, all right? Qualifying, simulate it. Easy. I mean, they only got one lap. It's Spa. It's an absolutely brutal course. Let's take a look at the standings. Huang Do, unsurprisingly, starting on pole. He has been fantastic at these road courses. Caleb Strope, also with a very good lap, just a little bit behind him. Then it's Dumbledore, Orioles, Cigar, and Mitchell Carter. Now, down at the bottom of the order, Drayden Zen and that Enter 2003 guy clearly making some big mistakes on track, as they've left a couple of seconds between himself and the rest of the field. Now, you know how it goes in the Amateur League. We're just going to cut straight to the chase. And hey, maybe we're going to have a few restarts. We're going to try and keep it clean. But we're going to go straight to the action. We don't have time for a full pace lap of this track because it is so absolutely massive. So we're just going to start, I believe, I think a couple corners from the end of the lap. And we're just going to go straight to the command. You know, we don't faff around here in the Amateur League. We cut straight to the chase.
Drivers, start your engines.
Just like when we talked about the transporter. At the end of pit road, the last pit box is a timing line. So the last white line on pit exit is the line. Big thumbs up, my friend. Have a good time.
And Huang Do will lead the field through Blanchimont, and then through the chicane, and then they're going to start, and immediately after the start-finish line is a tight right-hand hairpin La Source. It is such a dangerous point on the track, and once again, if the cars can't make it through there, and we get a caution flag within the first couple of corners, we're just going to do a quick redo, and hey, we might be here again, but maybe not. You know, we'll we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, everyone gets through okay. And this old configuration of the chicane here, they go first to the left and then to the right. It's a quick little bus stop back and forth, and the pace car will pull into the pits. Huang Do and Caleb Strope will lead the field onto the front stretch to the green flag here at Spa. Green flag in the air. A good start for Huang. I think he might be clear of Caleb Strope already as they start heading into Les Tours. Heavy on the braking. Caleb Strope just peeking to the inside of the 06. Is the field going to get through here without chaos? We've got a few cars into the inside wall and a few cars into the outside wall, but it looks like generally things are going okay. Which, believe it or not, is very, very surprising to me. We got some cars in the fence at the back of the field, but no caution so far, which means we should be good to go. Huang Do leads Caleb Strope by just over a car length as the field comes swerving up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion. Caleb Strope right in the draft of Huang Do. He's looking to the inside down the Camel Straight. Into Lake Combe, here's the 14, peeking to the inside of the 06. We have some carnage to take care of at the back of the field, but for now, this is the battle we're looking at. For the lead, side by side, Huang first on the outside, then on the inside. He defends first place from Caleb Strope, and now it's Dumbledore in the 07. Knocking on second place. He's peeking to the inside into Bruxelles, but no move there. Running just a little bit closer to the apex of the corner than Caleb Strope is doing. And now they go down the hill into Pouon. Huang Do with a couple of car lengths lead over the 14. Field staying pretty close together here for such a tight and technical road course. As down the hill they go. Cigar having a look on Orioles. He's about half a car length back. Not really a great passing zone here. We got a lot of high-speed corners in this section of the track. And we've got some damaged cars. Pantallica in the 78. He is way, way behind the pack. And I believe NASCAR Fan 09 in the number 9. Oh, Felber's got a ton of damage. There he is. Number 9 is absolutely destroyed on the front end. Jimmy Powell in his first event also has a bunch of damage. And that was all just turn 1 chaos. If we have a chance to go look at that, maybe we will in a lap or two. But those drivers will be way down the order and way off pace. Surprisingly for a road course, aero matters a lot here. We've got so many long straights, so many high-speed sections, that if you've got a damaged car, it is just a big sail in the air, pulling you backwards. Huang Do still in the lead. Caleb Strope struggling a little bit. Dumbledore's right behind him. Is he going to have a look on the inside as they come into Les Tours? Heavy on the braking. Here comes Dumbledore to the inside. Caleb Strope just stays ahead of him through the corner, but has a very bad exit. In fact, he gets up into the wall just a little bit, and they're going to be side by side down the hill. Dumbledore trying to clear Strout before Eau Rouge here. I don't know if he can do it. They might be side by side. No. The 07 pulls just in front of the 14, and that's Dumbledore up into second place. As look at the field winding up the hill through one of the most famous corners in all of motorsports. But Caleb Strout staying close behind Dumbledore. Here comes the 14 with the counterattack to the inside. Down the Camel Straight into Lake Home.
Big dick energy.
More energy from John Felber. I'm sorry, dude.
John Felber super chatted
We can't.
$2.
But I
Can we
appreciate the
restart?
super chat. I'm sorry, John. Thank you so much, though. They're side by side through Lake Home. But it's the 07 of Dumbledore who manages to defend second place and stay in front. And look at this pack they've got behind them. Single file winding through these hills, trying to set each other up for a passing opportunity. Meanwhile, Huang Do just checking out at the front of the field. He's got a lead by over a second now. But with the 07 now clear of the 14, can he reel in the leader? It's the 06 and the 07 at the front. Cigar has been on the rear bumper of Orioles for over a lap now. He's just peeking to the inside, but there's no move to be made. Not yet, at least. He might have to set him up at one of those high-speed sections of the track like the Camel Straight and send it up the inside. We've seen that pass work a couple of times. Maybe the inside of Les Tours. These drivers are going to have to pit at least once in this 14-lap run. So we will have one pit stop. I don't know if they're going to take tires, but they're definitely going to need at least a little splash of fuel. Cigar really trying to find a way around Orioles, but now they're onto this high-speed section, and there really isn't a place to pass until they get to the end of this straightaway into the chicane. But Orioles had a really good exit out of Stavelo, and he's pulled away from Cigar and fended off any possible attack as they enter the chicane. And now it's the 88 of Mitchell Carter getting close to the back of Cigar, as the rest of the field still staying pretty much single file. But they are certainly within striking distance of each other, especially in this tight hairpin of Las Oras. As the 75 of Anthony Lopez, he's looking at the inside of the 88. This is for 6th place. But the 88 gets a way better exit. Mitchell Carter will be able to hold on to that position. We also see the 3 of Winty and the 97 of Dysick. They're going side by side. But the 97 will clear before they get to Eau Rouge. Really important that these guys stay single file through this section of the track. So fast and so tight uphill. If you go in there side by side, you are losing so much speed. So let's take a look at the front. 1.7 seconds is the gap between Huang Do and Dumbledore. So he's been pushing in that 0.7. He managed to get past Caleb Stroup in the 14. But since then, he hasn't been able to reel in the 0.6 of Huang Do, who has been just perfect every lap so far. Still have a long way to go here in this event. The 59 of Zachary Fitzwater trying to pull a little bit of strategy. No, he's not. I thought he pitted for strategy reasons, but he doesn't have a front end of the car. My goodness. What a terrible season it's been for the 59. Let's go back and see if we can figure out what on earth kind of trouble he got into. Pretty significant, whatever it was. Whatever it was. And it was into turn 1 here. So let's take a look and just take apart what happened going into turn 1. We know it's such a slow hairpin. These guys are almost crawling through the corner. But these drivers getting into the inside wall. He ends up backing into Nick Sant. And huge damage to the 59. Here's what happened to Felber. We see Jacob Hitz and NASCAR Fan 48. They're also in the outside wall. Chaos back in the pack. I'm amazed everyone managed to keep rolling. This outside wall is looking like a magnet to these cars. And I think Felber just straight up missed the corner. And he got into the tires, and NASCAR Fan 09 has nowhere to go. Jacob Hitz has to slow down because these guys are in the wall, and the rest of the pack just trying to crawl their way through the first turn. And you can see that's where Pantallica lost a whole bunch of time as well. We knew there would be some sort of chaos, but at least it was relegated to just a few cars being slow and no flips, no stack-ups, but certainly not what those drivers want to see. The number 9 is retired from the race, actually. NASCAR Fan 09 had so much front-end damage that they've just pulled the car over. He's had a pretty brutal set of races here as well. Some bad luck for the 9 team. As we see Dysick on the inside of Alan Johnston out of La Source onto the straightaway. But they're neck and neck. They're going to be side by side coming into Eau Rouge. Who is going to give as they come up the hill? Still side by side through Radion and onto the Kemmel straight. It looks like the 97 of Dysick does get the better of Johnston. And he's going to clear him and move up into 8th place. Meanwhile, at the front, the gap between the leaders staying pretty much exactly the same. But Caleb Stroup is really giving Dumbledore a lot to worry about. He's got a mirror full of that bright yellow Sunny D number 14. But Huang hasn't been checking out the past couple of laps like he has at the very start. So still a chance here for Dumbledore to make this up, as we still have over 10 laps to go here in this event. Meanwhile, Orioles in the 89 has still managed to stay ahead of Cigar. Here comes the 12 looking to the inside through Puan. This is a really daring move. It's not necessarily a popular passing zone. He had a peek to the inside, but you can tell Cigar is just unhappy. He is really being held up by the 89, and they're losing a lot of time to the leaders. Look at this beautiful race course, just winding up and down these Belgian hills through the forest. Just a fantastic race course. I mean, you gotta love it. And really just a beautiful venue for this Sim Series Amateur League Belgian Grand Prix. So not only Cigar, but also Anthony Lopez, Mitchell Carter, and Dysick, they're all starting to train up behind the 89. And it seems like Cigar's best part of the track is really on the back half with those high-speed corners. He gets right up behind Orioles but it's so hard to pass in those high-speed corners. See, right now in these prime passing zones, Cigar is just not close enough to dive it up the bottom. He has a little peek to the inside, but there's really no move he can make there. He has to either hope that Orioles makes a mistake through Eau Rouge and he can get a run down the Camel Straight, or somehow find a way to muscle past in those high-speed corners in the back half of the racetrack. So through Eau Rouge they go, up the hill at Radion, and Cigar going a little bit wider. Let's see if he can get a run on the 89. He is right up under his rear bumper, down the Camel straightaway. Cigar should be getting boatloads of draft from Orioles in the 89, but is it enough to close up? Not quite. Orioles has a lot of straight line speed in that 89, and the 12 just can't get close enough to make a move. And that 89 is going to hold on to 4th place. Meanwhile, the 14 still all over the rear end of Dumbledore for 2nd place, and they're still around 1.8 seconds off of Huang Do, so only a 10th lost in the previous lap. I wonder if that 14 is going to start picking away at the 07. So here is Cigar's strong suit. This is his best part of the racetrack. Down the hill through Puan. He runs a little bit lower in the corner than Orioles does. If he can set him up maybe down this little straightaway, he's just not close enough. And it looks exactly like it did on the previous lap, except now Anthony Lopez is even closer. And we've got 3 cars almost bumper to bumper through these corners. But Cigar staying close behind. Maybe, if he can get a good exit out of Stavolo here. He is right, almost pushing Orioles through this corner. Now he's got a run. If he stays with him through Blanchimont, he can make a pass in the chicane. He's looking on the inside through Blanchimont. This is not somewhere you see these guys going too wide. You're going to have to be really careful here, and it looks like he will back off because that would have been so dangerous. In fact, he's going to lose out here to Orioles, and it's Anthony Lopez right behind him into the braking zone for the chicane. Thank you, Spitfire, for the biddies. Cheering on Dysek, who is now caught on this train of cars. He's right behind the 88 of Mitchell Carter. And still, Orioles manages to stay ahead of Cigar. Dysek having a peek to the inside of Mitchell Carter into turn 1 last source. No move to be made there as they go down the 2nd straightaway. Still around 1.8 seconds. Dumbledore almost matched Huang Do's lap time exactly. And I think this might come down to a pit stop battle. Cigar, once again, doesn't have a huge run down the Camel Straight. In one of the most prime passing zones, he's got some draft now, but he's still about a car length back on Orioles. And that's just not enough to be sending it up the inside through Lake Home, at least not at this point in the race. And you got to be thinking, he is losing so much time caught up behind that 89. I mean, look at this train of cars we have now. I mean, they've got almost 4 seconds between themselves and this battle for 2nd place between Dumbledore and Caleb Straub. Huang Do still 1.8 seconds up the road. Dumbledore unable to catch up, but not really falling back either. He has to be perfect because one little mistake from that 07, and you know that 14 of Caleb Straub is going to be capitalizing. And Cigar made the move. The one time we finally look away from him, the 12 has gotten past the 89. We know it was only a matter of time. Cigar up into 4th place. Let's go see the pass that made it all happen. It was on the inside of Bruxelles. Oh, Orioles just missed the corner. He runs wide. Cigar takes him on the inside. Then he's on the outside. And what a move by the 12. Stays on the gas, uses all of the racetrack possible. And we know this was his strong point on the racetrack. And he finally got the move completed and up into 4th place. And already you can see him pulling away from Orioles in the 89. The 12 definitely looks like one of the strongest cars on track right now. But he's got 4 seconds between himself and Caleb Straub in 3rd place. A lot of time to make up. And we're starting to run these laps down. We're almost halfway through this event. As a little bit of dust kicked up from the 14, it looks like he went wide and he's lost a lot of time to the 07 of Dumbledore. Let's take a look here. It's definitely through the chicane. He's right behind the 07 and just runs wide. He goes way out onto the grass, and that's going to cost him at least half a second. And he can see the 12 of Cigar already catching up. That lap, Cigar was 1.2 seconds faster than Caleb Strout. So he'll definitely be knocking on the door of the podium here by the end of the event, and maybe with a little bit of pit strategy, could have a shot at the win. That 12 car is fast. Meanwhile, the 88 of Mitchell Carter looking to the inside of Anthony Lopez. This is for 6th place. Is Dysek going to move to the bottom and try and push the 88 down the Kemmel Straight? What a fantastic camera angle we've got here. Into the braking zone of Lacombe. The 88 and the 75 side by side through the braking zone. First on the outside, now on the inside for Anthony Lopez. And he's going to defend that 6th place position from Mitchell Carter. And it looks like they're going to get pretty much sorted out here. What a fantastic battle Orioles has created by stacking these cars up. We've got this huge line of cars. TS Media having a look to the inside of NJC through these winding corners. Now he's going to be on the outside, but we've seen Cigar make this move stick. Can TS do it? He's got to use all of the racetrack up on the curb, but NJC got such a great exit. The 17 able to pull in front and stay clear of the 1. But now TS Media looking to the inside through Puan. Not a popular passing zone, but he's having a peek. No move can be made there, at least not yet. Meanwhile, the 55 and the 56 going at it as well. Nitro looks like he's been holding up slow motion just a little bit. He's got a stack of cars behind him as well. 7 of Baker, Mountain Dew fan for life. Nick Sant, that racing kid as well. All stacked up behind the 56 of Nitro. Meanwhile, at the front, Huang Do finally finding some speed. That last lap, he was about 4/10 faster than Dumbledore and pulling ahead out front. Looks like Nick Sant has a little bit of damage from possibly turn 1 chaos. You can see the rear end of his car is just looking askew. It's not pretty, but it's working wow, it's working well for him so far. One of the highest drivers in the point standings. He's currently sitting in 18th. Anthony Lopez, meanwhile. Oh, here we go. We got pit stops now. We are halfway into this event, and of course, it is a perfect time for everybody to file down pit road. Nobody wants to go an extra lap here. We've had some cars who pitted a bit early here, and I believe the 68 of Jimmy Powell, the 57 of the Chisholm family, Jacob Hitz, John Felber, Nathan Kiani. These guys are way down the order, and they pitted early. So it looks like it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for pretty much the entire field. Here they come into the pit boxes. It is such a long pit road here at Spa. But it looks like the optimal strategy is simply cut the run in half. Run 7 laps, put some fresh tires on it, and run 7 more. A little bit of contact in the pits here between the 89 and the 12. Huang Do gets a great pit exit, and he is several seconds clear of Caleb Stroup here. It pays off to be on pole and to have that first stall. Out of the pits he comes several seconds ahead of the 14 of Caleb Stroup, and Dumbledore, trouble in the pits, he loses a position. All that hard work to get up into second place, and Dumbledore has dropped down several seconds off Caleb Stroup. And these pit stops have just spread out the entire field, except, of course, Orioles still trying to defend, this time from the 75 of Anthony Lopez. Boy, that 59 is just a mess. Huang Do will retake the lead. We still have only 1 retirement from this race, and that's NASCAR Fan 09 in the number 9. Got a little bit of side-by-side action. This is the 33 of Roger Gregory and the 2 of that 2003 guy. Both doing pretty well. They're up the order, and it looks like that 2003 guy will be able to take that position. So we're going to have to wait for these cars to come around to see the gap, but it looks like this is everything in favor of Huang Do. Absolutely dominant. They got a perfect pit stop out, and just look at this gap. Several seconds between him and Caleb Stroup. Definitely the biggest lead we've seen so far in this event. But still no shortage of action. as Tropical Cyclone managed to pick up quite a few spots to the pit cycle here. I don't know how well he was doing earlier, but he's certainly doing fantastically now. He's trying to hold off NJC here. I believe this is for... I'm going to be counting positions. Somewhere around the top 10. Thanks to 5 bits, Ringo. Welcome back. Through Blanchimont they go. NJC running about the same line as Tropical. But the 26 had a way better run through there and able to stay further in front. And NJC's going way wide in the chicane. This could leave him susceptible from attack from TS Media. And the 1 goes to the inside already down the front straightaway. He's having a peak, but NJC does a good job of covering off. Now in the braking zone, he goes to the inside. TS Media looking for that 12th place. Can he get a good run out of the corner compared to NJC? I don't think so. It's tough to get a good run on the inside, and NJC manages to stay in front. Meanwhile, that Iron 2003 guy is still doing some battling here, this time with a 55 of slow motion. And he's going to stay right on his rear bumper up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion. See if we can get a good draft from the 55. You might be able to have a peek to the inside through Lake Home. And here he goes to the bottom. Let's get that great camera angle. There it is. Absolutely fantastic to see these cars come down the Kemmel Straight like that. Hard on the brakes. But they're going to be side by side through Lake Home. But now the 55 is going to have the inside. But that 2003 guy holds the outside. Now he's got the inside. These switchback corners. But doesn't get a good run out. And the 55 managed to stay in front. Here comes Mountain Dew fan for life. He's going to the inside of the 2. So after all that battling, it looked like he had the position made. Now he's going to lose out to the 16. So dropping down into 13th is that 2003 guy. And Mountain Dew fan for life is up into 12th. Maybe that 2's still sticking to the inside. Through Pouan. Side by side. We've seen drivers looking to the inside. I don't think we've seen drivers go side by side through here yet today. But the 16 gets a really good exit. That 2003 guy had to go way out of the gas. And ultimately, through 5 or 6 corners in a row, it's the 16 who ends up in front. Great battles here at Spa. Speaking of great battles, the 12 of Cigar, who's absolutely one of the fastest cars on track right now. He is caught up to the back of Dumbledore. He wants a look at that podium. And you can see him carrying a little bit more speed through Blanchimont. Into the chicane, not close enough to make an attack quite yet. Both of them using up absolutely all of the curbs possible. But Cigar still a couple of car lengths back. That last time around, just a couple of tenths of a second faster than Dumbledore. So he's going to be working hard for that move. Is Dysek having a look at Anthony Lopez, but doesn't get a good enough exit out of the corner. Meanwhile, this battle is still raging on. Tropical, NJC, and TS Media. It's all a fight for 8th place. Cigar not close enough to get enough draft from Dumbledore. Having some troubles in this first half of the lap. He's so fast in those high-speed corners. But through Les Sources and Eau Rouge, the 12 has not been fantastic. Boy, what a fantastic show we've seen so far today here at Spa. So we're on lap number 10 of 14. Doesn't seem like a lot, but such a long track. We've been going at this for a while. Huang Do has led every step of the way, now by almost 5 seconds over second place Caleb Strout. Then it's the 07 and the 12. And Orioles falling into a bit of no man's land here. He's got a battle behind him between Anthony Lopez and Dysek. And then this trio of cars still close together. This might be the battle we want to look at on track. NJC really close behind Tropical here, but this is not a passing zone. He's got to stay behind him through Stavolo. It's really a test of patience, this track, because you got to sit behind someone through these high-speed corners and set them up on these long straightaways. And if you don't get a good exit out of here, that passing opportunity is gone. And you can see the spread between these cars out here. Tropical has been fantastic through this last sector and able to fend off any possible attack into the chicane. Meanwhile, the 97 of Disick looking to the inside of Anthony Lopez. This is going to be into turn 1 in the braking zone of La Source. Hard on the brakes for the 97, but Lopez able to just pull away, but he goes wide on exit. And into the wall with 75. This is a battle for 5th place, and Disick able to take the position as Lopez runs wide and scrapes the wall. And this 97 is on a charge right now. I'm not sure where he started, but he has just been moving in the front. Here comes Cigar to the inside of Dumbledore. Finally, that 12 got a good run through Eau Rouge. This is for 3rd place, the last of the podium positions, side by side through Lake Home. But the 07 able to hold on for now. Cigar back on the inside, can't get a good exit. And Dumbledore defending hard, able to hold off Cigar's charge and keep that podium position. We are running out of laps. Cigar knows this. He's running out of time. If he wants that 3rd place, he has to set him up and absolutely send it. And this battle for 8th still close together, but just not close enough for any moves. Staying in pretty much the exact same order as they were before. You know, Hongdo 4.5 seconds up the road from Caleb Stroup. He's not running faster than him, but he's running fast enough. Unless Caleb pulls some insane lap times in this closing stages of this event, or if we get a caution. I mean, basically, aside from a miracle, Hongdo has this race won. And honestly, I think he did it through the pit stops. He's been consistent all day, but gained several seconds through the pit cycle. And look at the lead he's built. Oh, it looked like we lost him in the chicane, but I think that's just the normal line. Cigar, meanwhile, probably getting frustrated now, still behind Dumbledore. We're seeing how hard it is to make a pass here in the Amateur League. I mean, you really got to be setting guys up several corners in advance. Although he gets a pretty good run through La Source. See if he gets any sort of helpful draft from Dumbledore. It looks like no. Onto the Kemmel Straight. Still not close enough. I mean, the one time he was close enough, he just wasn't able to complete the move. He's having a peek to the inside of the 07. He might send it on the brakes, but no. Cigar's going to stay back for now. He knows he has to wait until the perfect opportunity to make that pass. Tell you what, Huang's been playing it safe, but Caleb Stroup was 0.6 of a second faster on that previous lap. I know we only have 2.5 laps left, but I mean, if Huang doesn't, you know, at least keep the pace up, it could be within attacking distance, this number 14. Disick now is caught up to the back of Orioles. This should be a pretty good battle. That 97 has been really quick, and that 89, not so much. But for now, Orioles holding on to a top 5. So it looks like Disick got past Anthony Lopez. The 75 starting to struggle a little bit as this trio, the 26, the 17, and the 1, now caught up to the back of the 75. Could see some good battles here. Because Tropical's had a fantastic exit, especially right here out of Stavolo. And he's had some great straight line speed. Let's see if he can convert it into some sort of attack here on Anthony Lopez. Not quite close enough. In fact, he's running a little bit wide. NJC getting close behind. He's not going to have a dive into the chicane just yet. Tropical runs a little bit wide, though. NJC could have a look to the inside through La Source. If you get a good exit out of the chicane, a possible attack from the 17 stays behind Tropical for now. I don't know if that was the right move. Meanwhile, Enter 2003 guy in the 2 having a look to the inside of Mountain Dew Fan for Life, trying to retake that 11th spot. And the 16 goes way wide. He gets into the wall as well. I think we got some dirty track on the outside of turn 1 because we're seeing a lot of drivers go way out in the wall. You can see the damage to the 16 car. Meanwhile, TS Media, after NJC's failed attack on Tropical, the one now in prime opportunity to make an overtake. See if he dives to the inside into Lake Home. Nothing yet. On the brakes, here he goes, having a look. Oh, careful. Almost contact with the 17, but TS Media staying behind him for now. We know these drivers are getting a little bit feisty. We are running out of laps in this race. Under 2 laps to go. Huang Do still leads by 3.8 seconds, but the rest of the field still absolutely going at it. Cigar, Dumbledore still fighting for second. Orioles and Disick, they're fighting for 5th. Then it's TS Media, who's now trying to have a look to the outside of NJC. NJC's going to cover him off. Is the one going to dive to the inside through Puan? Gets off the gas a little bit early. Stays behind the 17 for now. Runs a little bit wide. See if he can carry some momentum on exit. A peek to the inside, maybe. No move coming from it. Cigar struggling now. Maybe overheating those tires a little bit. He's having trouble staying right behind the 07 of Dumbledore. Early on in the run, he was able to do it. In fact, we saw him try and launch an attack on the 07. But Dumbledore defended so far. Disick, meanwhile, all over the rear end of Orioles. Through Blanchimont, heading towards the chicane. The 97 is, I think, closer than he's ever been to the 89. If he can get a good chicane, he might be able to attack the 89 through La Source. As you see, Orioles goes a little bit wider than the 97. Let's see what kind of a run he's got. Is he able to jump to the inside? That trio of cars, they're battling behind them. White flag in the air. This is the final lap. Orioles having a look to the inside of the 89. I mean, Disick looking to the inside of Orioles. They're going to be side by side down the straightaway. No, Orioles stays in front. Meanwhile, NJC has managed to get past Tropical Cyclone. So finally some movement in that battle for 8th place. But Orioles still holding off Disick. But that 97's got a good run through Eau Rouge. And I think the 89's going to be under attack down the Kemmel straight. Is he close enough? Not quite. Meanwhile, the 12 of Cigar, he's having a look to the inside of the 07. He knows this is one of their last opportunities to make a pass here on the final lap. But they're just not close enough. TS Media, he's going to go to the inside of Tropical Cyclone. Driver versus owner here through Lake Home, but the one now stuck on the outside. Can he mount another run at the 26? Yes, maybe, no. Tropical Cyclone with a great exit out of the corner and down the hill again. So still all sorts of battles, but some great defense we're seeing from these drivers. Unfortunately, Tropical Cyclone lost out to NJC. But other than that, a lot of great battles. The fifth, oh boy, Slow Motion's got a lot of left side damage. It looks like he got into the wall at some point. And he's got the 24 of that racing kid all over the rear end of him. And the 33 of Roger Gregory also trying to get a little piece of the action. But really, the story of the race, the number 06 of Huang Do, he's doing what he does best. He started out front. He led every single lap. Fantastic pit stops. Fantastic consistency. He doesn't even have the fastest lap. But he's just been consistent. He's made no mistakes. And that has converted into a just dominating victory for Huang Do in the 06, and definitely going to be a healthy run of points Caleb Strout with the 14 will come home in second place, 3.5 seconds down the road. Then Dumbledore in the 07 manages to hold off Cigar through a pretty intense set of attacks. Then it's the 89 of Orioles who does hold on to that top 5 from Dysick. Then it's Anthony Lopez, NJC, Tropical Cyclone, TS Media, that Iron 2003 guy who managed to get past the 16 of Mountain Dew Fan for Life. Then it's Slow Motion managing to just stay in front of that Racing Kid. And the 33 of Roger Gregory, last week's race winner, the Chisholm family, finishing in 16th. Then it's Jacob Hitz, who managed to pass Jimmy Powell on the final lap. Let's take a look at that. So at some point in that last lap, Jacob Hitz manages to pick off the number 68 for 17th spot. And it looks like Powell might have made a mistake here. He did at the start of the last lap. Jacob on the inside of Jimmy. And Jimmy goes wide, grazes the tires, and that loses all his speed. That's what gives it up for Jacob. And then it's the 0-3 of Alan Johnston, who is close behind him. He has a look to the inside through Lake Home. But Jimmy Powell in that damaged, I might point out, that damaged number 68, holding off, doing a very good job there. And that leaves the 0-3 susceptible to an attack from the 7 of Baker. Also one of these new drivers in the Amateur League. Has a great run through Bruxelles. And then it looks like he's going to be able to hang around the outside and maybe make the move through Pouan down the hill. At a disadvantage at this point, but I think Baker just holds it around the outside. The 0-3 has to get way out of the gas when you're stuck on the inside through a high-speed corner like this. And onto the straightaway. That 7 grabs a spot on the final lap. So lots of action all over the track. Fantastic. Really just a good show here. And some good battles. I think TS Media was all over the rear end of Tropical Cyclone, even having a peek through Blanchimont, but wasn't close enough to make any sort of move through the chicane. You can see he got out onto the grass, just overexerting himself. So, fantastic show. Finally, we got some green flag racing. Only one retirement, and that's the 9 of NASCAR Fan 09 from that Turn 1 incident. John Felber, Zachary Fitzwater, Kiani, also with a ton of damage. I think they had to pit multiple times. So yeah, the 32, the 59, and 73, they're the only cars who had to pit twice, which is why they're way behind the rest of the field. Ethan Head and Pantallica also had some troubles, as well as the 48 in Turn 1. We had 4 passes on the final lap. That was pretty good, hey. So we're going to export these results. What race is this? 6. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Can says that was short. We're over time anyways. It's past 5 o'clock. We got to get this sim series rolling underway. So I tell you what. Stay tuned. In probably around 15 minutes, I'm going to try and get it up for 5:30. We are going to have the sim series Coca-Cola 300 from Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm talking 200-mile-an-hour pack racing like we saw in the All-Star package, but with 42 cars on track. Definitely can't miss out on that action. Stay tuned. I'll be right back in just a few moments. Congratulations to Huang Do and the 06 team. Absolutely dominant performance here at Spa. And I will see you all in just a few minutes. Take a quick break. Use the washroom. Get some water. 15 minutes. We'll be back, baby.